Well, welcome everyone. Today I'm introducing a must-have tool for anyone that needs to cut masking tape with great accuracy. As with most of the tools you'll see on my store, they come from a need. I came to a point in a build or some scratch building where I needed to cut masking tape with massive amounts of accuracy. As I usually do, I looked around for a tool in, I guess, the developer's landscape to see if there was anything that I could get hold of. I looked at suppliers I know and some that were new to me. And as usual, and not surprisingly, good old Dspiae won hands down with the tool that I want to show you today. So let's take a look at the masking tape precision cutting mats. I'll see you at the bench. Okay, well, here we're at the bench. Let me just have a swig of tea, as it was tea break just before I came and made this video. Right, so these cutting mask templates from Dspiae. What they look like is these guys. You get 4, not in a set I'm afraid, you have to buy each one of these individually. But conveniently, Dspiae have labelled these A, B, C and D. A is the arc patterns, B is the polygons, C is the concentric circles, but also, if you can see, some very useful ellipses. And D is the straight lines. Now I'm going to use the straight lines as an example, just so I can show you these in action. As I said, they come in this packaging. So it's basically an envelope with Dspiae's very shiny branding. So what I want to do is put that aside so it doesn't interfere with the camera and the reflections blind you guys so you can't see what's going on. Okay, so what they are pieces of acrylic. How thick is that? That's a very good question. I guessed 5mm when I first got these, but I measured them and they are 3mm. So the 3mm piece of acrylic. And what Dspiae have done is laser etched onto the surface some guidelines. If I do that, you can hear my fingernail running across the guidelines. Because the advantage then is you can put some masking tape on these and you have a guide for your knife. And then you get the accuracy and the precision you're looking for. Again, those words you hear across these videos all the time. These things are double-sided. I was going to say the white side, but it's a sort of grey colour on the lighter side, and then again on the, I was going to say black colour, but it's more of a slaty black colour. I would describe that as. The idea being, dependent on the kind of masking tape you are cutting, and obviously there are various types and also various thicknesses, you might find that the darker side is better to see through the masking tape, so you can actually see the guidelines when you're cutting. This one, as I say, it's the straight line one, and it's marked up in increments from 0.4mm up to 1mm. So this one is particularly for anyone that wants to do very, very small pieces of masking tape. And that's kind of where I came to these. I came to a point where I needed to mask off, I think it was a 0.5mm piece of an engine I was working on, 1/24 scale. And I really couldn't cut that accurately with a knife. I couldn't. How would I measure that with a ruler and measure and mark that onto a piece of masking tape? So these guys were absolutely a godsend. I could mark any size I wanted to. I felt it didn't interrupt me. I could just get these out, put the masking tape on, cut all the masks I wanted to in one setting, put them aside, then when I needed them, put them on the model, do the paint job, and then peel them off. Fantastic workflow. It really, I think, accelerated the build, which I got these for several months ago when I was testing these. And I did test them. I looked at, let me think. I think there was 4 different brands out there which have something very similar. But as usual, as I said in the introduction, Dspiae just won hands down for the build quality. I just felt that they just had the edge as usual. Now, let's get some masking tape. So let me get my drawer and my masking tape. So let's get some tape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this side because this masking tape this masking tape I'm using is standard Tamiya. That's been my go-to for more decades, frankly. But if you use others, shouldn't be an issue. It'll be the transparency. Obviously, very, very thick stuff. You won't be able to see the guidelines. So you have to bear that in mind. I guess when you're trying to match these to the masking tape. But I would guess most of you are using Tamiya or something very, very similar. So what I'm going to do is I will cut something a bit larger so you guys can actually see it on camera. So what I'll do is I'll cut something 0.8mm. Let's cut a few of those. So let me just concentrate for a second to get this lined up with one of the grooves. Excuse me. Give it a good rub. So there you can see the masking tape in situ, and you can see the guidelines all the way through the masking tape. Now, cutting this stuff, there is, I guess, a piece of advice or a caveat or something to be aware of. Absolutely. Let me get my spade knife out. Oop. Right, okay. The advice is, and you may have seen some reviews of these on several other websites, is don't use your best knife, or at least don't use a knife which is absolutely sharp, brand new, because the risk is you'll skid across the surface of this, and after all, it is acrylic, so it will be cut, and then you ruin the indent, you ruin the guides. Also, if you press too hard in the groove, you'll just keep on making the groove even deeper, and then the accuracy won't be there. So the advice is to basically find a knife, or use a knife which has gone off a bit. Now, not your best knife. It's not absolutely and totally blunt, but it isn't ultra sharp either. Something in the middle. So if you can find one of those, then we have one knocking around, maybe in a drawer somewhere, or you're ready to throw it away. Probably this is the time to go and retrieve it if you want to start using these guys. What I've done, because I know this blade in this particular handle has been really through the ringer, and it is pretty blunt, but not blunt to the point where it won't cut masking tape. After all, we're only trying to cut masking tape. This one will do fine. So what I've decided is this is my knife, or it's the go-to knife for cutting onto this tool. So I don't have to find a blade or fish one out of my sharps box for throwing away. So I know this one is absolutely fine. It's blunt enough, but not too blunt. So that's my go-to knife. So you might want to think about, if you have a knife knocking around somewhere you haven't used for a while and you want to get a hold of these, that's probably the handle, and then match that with the blade. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to just cut off the top of this masking tape, because there is a cut there, so you can actually get this off. Now, let me just start an edge. So what I tend to do is cut and use my knife just to start an edge. Now, to pull these off, what I tend to do is reach for my trusty micro tweezers, these guys, because obviously some of these pieces of masking tape are so small, normal tweezers or standard tweezers won't grab a hold of it. So let me excuse me, let me just pull the end of this off so it is square, like that. There we go, so that's square. Now let's actually do some cutting into the grooves. Now normally I would do this under magnification, but unfortunately this is my magnifier, this guy, but it's the moment it's used to light my bench while I'm making this video for you guys. Normally I'd do this under magnification so I can actually see the grooves. So I'm gonna kind of wing this a little bit. I can feel the knife in the groove there and there. So just take gentle pressure, because after all we're only going through masking tape. And again. And again. And again. Okay. So and then let me just start the edge of a couple of these so I can pull them off. Okay, let's put that bit down there. Right, let me see if I can do this on camera. So I just started the edge there. So let me just pull that. So that is, what did we say? 0.8. So that is a 0.8 piece of millimeter piece of masking tape, start to finish. You can guarantee that is the same all the way through, and that's what I really wanted with these, the accuracy. And I say this particular one goes to down to 0.4, which is crazy if you need to cut a mask that small, but it is absolutely possible. Let me just put that down for a second. Let me see if I can grab the next one. Oh, I've got two there. So, and of course you can do that as well. If you want multiples of this, then you can absolutely do that. You haven't got to just cut the 0.8. Do the maths and then cut whichever size you absolutely want, and so on and so on. Massive amounts of accuracy there, real precision, which is really what I'm after with really all the tools I try to offer you guys on the store. As I said, this is the straight line. As I said, that's pack B. C, as I said, was quite interesting. It is concentric circles, but there are lots of these different ellipse shapes which are really hard to cut normally. So having a guide, fantastic, really useful. The polygon patterns, infinitely useful for various things. So the different sizes which they cut into the acrylic is very, very useful. And again, the arcs. What I would say with these two in particular, if you look at the descriptions on the individual cutting mats on the store, I put all the technical details of what degrees that is, what the arc degrees, etc. It's all on the description pages of each of the individual cutting mats, and they do come individually. It's a case of which of these is suitable for your application, or which several ones are. I may offer them at the future as a sort of pack. If you feel that's something that would be useful as a sort of bundle, do come back to me about that. Leave some comments, or email me is probably the best, just so I can gauge the interest if you feel that these would be very useful as a pack. But at the moment, they are individual. So that is Dspiae's cutting mask template. It's one of those simple ideas, I guess. They've been around for a while. I've seen a few of these knocking around, model shops and model shelves for a few years. Can't say I sort of started to use one until a few months ago when I was trying to. Again, I had a need, which is why I've sourced these for the store. But I guess once you start to use them, you think it's one of those. How do you work without it? How is that even possible? So that is on the store right now. So all four are available as usual. Any questions, any queries, do come back to me. So those are the masking tape precision cutting mats. Could these cutting mats solve a problem you're having accurately cutting masking tape? They certainly helped me massively. Also, these tapes are the perfect companion for the precision modeler's knife, enabling you to achieve the perfectly accurate cut every time. You saw me using the knife in the demo. Whether you're cutting arcs, polygons, circles or straight lines, this set has all your masking tape needs covered. Well, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and like and hit that bell icon for more modelling tips and product reviews. Keep on modelling.